Om Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvabhignopashantaye Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhake Sharanye Triambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Vishu, can you shut off your speaker? Okay. Okay, so Usha, you're going to have to shut off your speaker, please.
Namaskar.
Your speaker. Yeah. So as you know, we are Navaratri is just starting. Today is the first day. And it's really a very special festival. And as we all know, it is a celebration or a time of prayers. Prayers to Goddess, to Parameshwari, Parashakti. And Devi is worshipped in different ways in different parts of India. Certain areas she's worshipped in the form of Mahakali, especially in the east, they have Kali Puja, or worship of Durga in other parts of, in other regions. And Durga is invoked in the form of Navadurgas, one each for each of the 9 days of Navaratri. In the south, we have worship she's worshipped in the form of Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. So here we are going to look at one stotram, which is addressed to Parvati Devi in her manifestation as Annapurneshwari. As Annapurneshwari, you all know Kashi. Kashi is a great pilgrim spot for us, which has been there for eons. And the presiding deity, the Lord of Kashi, Varanasi, is Lord Shiva, as Vishwanatha, Sri Vishwanatha, and his consort there is Sri Annapurneshwari. So Lord Shiva, Varanasi is also Mokshapuri. It's called as Mokshapuri, Kashi Puri, Mokshapuri. Lord Shiva is the Lord who gives moksha after death. Annapurneshwari is the goddess who sustains life, life in all forms, So this is a prayer addressed to her. Annam also is symbolic. Annam is one of the few things in life that gives complete satisfaction, at least momentarily, We seek so many objects in the world and we acquire them. But acquisition doesn't necessarily mean feeling full, feeling that I have enough now, whether it is objects, whether it is wealth, whether it is other acquisitions. You always are left with a feeling of incompleteness or wanting more, wanting more. Food is something that makes us feel full. And however much you like it, at some point, you reach a point where you say, okay, this is enough. I don't want any more, Problem with food is that is transient. Again, we get hungry. But anyway, it gives us that sense of fullness, what fullness is about. Another thing also that makes us feel full and complete is jnanam, is this knowledge of oneness between ourselves, the individual, and Parameshwara and the Lord. That is the only other thing that gives a sense of fullness, that I have completely accomplished everything. I don't need any more. I don't want any more from this world. And that is permanent. So here she is, we praying to her as Annapurneshwari to please give me that sense of fullness, in the form of sustenance, in the form of annam, to keep me going. But also the sustenance is for my journey, the journey of life, the spiritual journey. And please also give me that bhiksha that makes me feel full and complete forever, permanently, in the form of jnanam or knowledge. That is called as jnana bhiksha. So we are really praying for Anna Bhiksha, but also praying for Jnana Bhiksha. It's a very beautiful stotram. So we will just see, there are some variations sometimes, if you've downloaded from the internet, some words may be different, the order may be different, but more or less they are the same. It's a prayer attributed to Adi Shankaracharya. So let's begin, with the first verse. Nityanandakari Varabhayakari Saundarya Ratnakari Nirdutha Kila Ghora Papanikari Pratyaksha Maheshwari Praleya Chala Vamsha Pavanakari Kashi Puradhishwari Bhikshandehi Kripavalambanakari Mata Annapurneshwari. Bhikshandehi, please give me bhiksha. Bhiksha is a very beautiful concept, and also a practice which we have in our culture. Bhiksha is to ask, Bhiksha, sometimes they translate as begging. It's not really begging, So here it is asking for something. Annam, bhavati bhikshandehi, Please give me food. And not anybody can, you can't just go around asking people for food. One has to have adhikaritvam. One has to be qualified to do the asking, Then it is not begging. And only two people are qualified for this. One is a brahmachari, one is a sannyasi, These are the two people who have dedicated their lives for the pursuit of a spiritual goal, to the exclusion of everything else, including their own livelihood. And so in our culture, the society supports these people by giving them the basic necessities, so in the form of food. So when they ask for bhiksha, it is not considered to be begging, one considered to be a blessing to support these people. So there is brahmachari and there is sannyasi. They ask for bhiksha. So here it is, I'm asking, but who gives, Ultimately, everything Bhagavan only gives. It has to be there in our own. We are meant to get it, we get it. We are not meant to get it, we don't get it. Of course, it's based on our actions and our karmas. But at the same time, there is a daivam factor involved in everything that we get. So here I ask for Mata Annapurneshwari. Oh, mother. So like a mother, she gives, she takes care. Please give me this bhiksha. Kripa avalambanakari, the one on whom I depend, the one in whom I seek refuge. The ultimate refuge for everyone is the Lord alone, not really even other people, because they're all dependent on, ultimately everybody is dependent on Bhagavan to keep the whole thing going, to keep me going, to keep my life going. So I pray to her in the form of one who gives one who sustains. So he says, please give me this bhiksha of annam, of sustenance, and also of jnanam, of knowledge. This attitude of bhiksha is something, it's a spiritual discipline, living a life that kind of a way. It does a couple of things, Bhiksha gives vinayam, it gives humility, because it's not an easy thing to ask. There are a lot of rules and regulations about asking for bhiksha for the people who do so. They don't just simply ask like that. So it is done as a form of a spiritual discipline to sustain oneself. It is something that inculcates this attitude of humility. And also, this yadricha labha santushtaha, the one who is content with what comes, When I earn my money, I am in full control. I go eat what I want to eat. I eat what I feel like eating. In Bhiksha, it's not like that. I have to be content with what comes, how much comes. It is acceptable, unacceptable, taste-wise. Sometimes it may not come. So all of these things go into this particular attitude, So with this kind of an attitude, I'm asking her that give me also the capacity so that I can accept what comes from Devi, what comes from Goddess, A lot of these words have curry at the end. It's not our curry, but so it comes from the root kru, which means to do, to bring about. So she is the one who brings about all of these things. What does she bring about? Nityananda Kari, the one who gives me ananda, not joy, not transient joy, which I can get from the world, but joy which is nityam, joy which never goes away, joy which is my swarupam, in fact, my essential nature, which I discover with finding oneness with the Lord. That ultimate ananda is what she gives, Not only that, varabhayakari. She gives varam. All Bhagavans, the deities, they give us a blessing, What kind of a blessing? Abhaya varam, This is the big varam. A varam, a blessing of fearlessness, That I'm not afraid of anything. So she is Abhaya Karanam. So she Bhaya Karanam and Abhaya Karanam, both, Bhagavan is the one who gives fear through the laws, If I live against dharma, then it has consequences, Consequences are something which are not desirable by us. So in that form, Bhagavan gives bhayam, but at the same time also gives abhayam. When I live in accordance with dharma, then it is a life of abhayam. So please give me this abhayam, the fearlessness or lack of fear from all kinds of things. Saundarya Ratnakari. She is someone who's the source of wealth. Ratnam is not just gems. Ratnam is any form of wealth. So the one who gives wealth in the form of beauty, in the form of grace. Nirdhuta Akhila Ghora Papa Nikari, the one who removes all the Ghora Papam. Papams are afflictions, the afflictions which are born of my own actions. And these afflictions, the Ghora, what is the most fearful affliction? Is my mortality, being subject to time, So he says the one who removes, who helps me overcome these all kinds of afflictions, in fact, that are born of my own karma, he says. You are the one who gives all the Pratyaksha Maheshwari. She is the one who is, so the consort of Lord Shiva, of Maheshwara, the one who is with him, non-separate from him all the time. And so here the one who is manifest in the form of Annapurneshwari. Prale Achala Vamsha Pavanakari. She is the one who purified the Vamsha, of whom Pralaya is snow. So the Himavan, her father, her father is Himavan, the mountains, the Himalayas, and then he and his consort, So his Meena Devi is his consort, who's said to be the daughter of Meru. So she was born as Parvati, as their daughter. So therefore she is called as Haimavati also. So she, the one who, so having come into this family of Himavan into his Vamsha, and you purified that Vamsha. They were not having children. Like that Purana, there's a story in the Purana about her birth and her parents in her manifestation as Parvati Devi. Kashi Puradhishwari. She is the one who is the presiding deity, who is the goddess of Kashipuri. So Kashipuri is the Varanasi or Kashi. She is the temple there, right next to Sri Vishwanatha Swami temple. Nana Ratna Vichitra Bhushanakari Hemambaradambari Muktahara Vidambamana Vilasat Vaksho Jakumbhantari Kashmira Garuvasitangaruchira Kashi Puradhishwari Bhikshandehi Kripavalambanakari Mata Napurneshwari Nana Ratna Vichitra Bhushanakari. The one again, similar to the one before, who's the source of all forms of wealth, of beauty, of grace. The one who is endowed with, the one who's adorned with Hemambaram. Hema is gold. So all the vastrams, all the ornamentations of gold, that she is adorned with. In other words, she's like Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi. She's the one who wields. Remember, Shri Parvati, Shakti stands for, so the ultimate, the Ishwarasya Shakti is called Maya Shakti or Parashakti. And then all these forms are manifestations of that Shakti. The Parashakti is manifest as, so Durga, Lakshmi and Saraswati, Triputi. Like even Ishvara is manifest like Shiva, Vishnu and Brahmaji. So same way, the Shakti, Parashakti is manifest or invoked or worshipped in the form of Durga, Lakshmi and Saraswati. So he says all of this. So she is the one who wields all the wealth that is there. So here he says, Muktahara this is a little descriptive of her form. Muktahara Vidambamana Vilasat Vakshoja Kumbhantari. Mukta is the pearl, So this is a compound, long compound. It describes that she is wearing this long garland of pearls that hangs over her chest, shining. And so it's a long necklace, in other words, not a choker. If you look at the Murti of Annapurneshwari, so you will see this long garland which comes up to the waist, to the stomach. Like that they wear one form of garland. That is what is described here. A necklace rather. So Mukta, pearl is an interesting thing, Pearl is is a metaphor for Atma also. So in our culture, in Vedanta Shastram, you see the example of pearl. So it is pure, the whiteness, the purity. So it is like Shuddha Atma. Another interesting thing about it is, so this pearl is mistaken. If I don't recognize the pearl, on the beach, so the shell, it is a shell basically, form of a shell, can be mistaken for silver. So this example is given in Vedanta. So just as when you don't recognize the pearl, it can be mistaken for silver, that shell, the shell. Similar is Atma. It is pure, it is white, but one doesn't recognize it. It's mistaken for the Anatma is mistaken for the Atma. So in place of Atma, I see the Anatma. Just as in place of the shell, I see the silver. It's an interesting example of this pearl. Anyway, so she's the one who's adorned by these pearls. And Kashmir Agaru Vasi Tanga Ruchira. She's the one who's anointed by this fragrance, the fragrance of Kashmir. So Kashmira Desham is Aguru. Aguru is a kind of a fragrant wood. It's called aloe wood. So it has a fragrance. So there's this Kashmira Gandham. Saffron is called as Kashmira Gandham. So like that, these words are there that describe fragrances that are found in the region of Kashmir. So he says she's adorned with, why Kashmir? You'll see later on. So adorned by this fragrances of Kashmir. Beautiful. She is the one who is, again, same words. These words repeat in every verse. Kashi Puradhishwari. Please, Amma, Mata, Annapurneshwari. Please, Bhikshan Dehi. Mata. Manyate iti Mata. Pujyate. The word Mata means the one who is worshipful. The one who is worshipped. The one who is to be worshipped. That's what it means. So that's what she is, The one who is worshipped by all the people. So therefore she is called as Mata here. Yogananda Kari Ripukshaya Kari Dharmaika Nishtha Kari Chandrarkana Labhasamana Laghari Trailokya Raksha Kari Sarvaishwarya Kari Tapaf Phala Kari Kashi Puradhishwari Bhikshan Dehi Kripavalambana Kari Mata Annapurneshwari. Yogananda Kari. She is the one who gives me ananda. No. What kind of an ananda? In the first verse, he says she was Nityananda Kari, the one who gives this joy, this inner fullness, which is not transient, which is permanent, and which is not limited in any other way, he says. So she is the one here, Yogananda Kari. She is the one who gives me ananda, joy, born of yoga. Yoga is oneness, we know that. So oneness with the Lord, with Parameshwara, with our source. We all are looking for our source. And that the source from which we all came is what we call as Bhagavan, is what is Ishvara. And so there is an essential non-separation from the Lord. Bhagavan is Antaryami. He's the one who abides in everything, the one who abides in each and every one, in each and every jiva. So he says this is already there. That oneness is already there, but it is not recognized by anyone. Not recognized by me, by the majority, by the jiva. And so the one who helps me recognize this oneness, so that is what is called as yoga. So he says, in other words, that is in the form of ananda. In the recognition, ananda is fullness. Ananda, when we say, it is not some kind of an experiential happiness that we all know what that is, but that comes and goes. It is centered on the mind. It is centered on the state of the mind. It is a particular momentary state of the mind also. It doesn't stay. But this is an ananda that is centered on the self. Self is not momentary. The subject is not momentary. The subject is always there. And if this ananda happens to be the nature, the essential nature of the subject, then what happens? It's not going to go anywhere because the subject is already there. But that is something for me to recognize, to discover, to discover through a certain process. And that is what the whole spiritual pursuit is about. So the one who, for which I need blessing of Bhagavan, I need blessing of Devi. So here he says, you are the one, you are the Shakti of everything. You are at the bottom of this whole manifestation. The whole story of manifestation of Annapurneshwari. There's a story in the Puranas that they were having a conversation, Parvati and Lord Shiva. And so Shiva, in that conversation, he mentions how that the Shiva and Shakti, so she is Maya Shakti. He said everything that has to do with the world, the Jagat, is Maya. It is Maya Shakti. So it is an illusion. Everything is an illusion. Including the food that we eat is a illusion. So like that, like he said. So Parvati said, well, it may look illusion doesn't mean you just can't say that and dismiss everything so easily. So it is essential. In fact, that is the one that keeps the world going. It helps the jiva reach his end. It is all within this Maya alone. Even one overcomes Maya only while living in Maya, not afterwards. So he says it is essence. So she stops, she withdraws her Shakti. And then the whole world is in a disaster. And then all the jivas are suffering. And so there is no food, there is no climate, there is nothing growing. And so finally, everybody is praying to the Lord. And so there's only one place where they hear that food might be available, and that is in Kashi. And so then Lord Shiva decides to go there and check it out because his devotees are suffering now. And so when he goes there, he finds this kitchen where Annapurneshwari is the only one who has the annam that she is giving out. And so he asks for bhiksha, Anna bhiksha from her, and she gives him the bhiksha. And then anyway, that is how the whole situation is resolved. So this is a story that is there in connection with her manifestation. So anyway, so she is the one who is at the bottom of all this sustenance. Ripukshayakari, the one who removes the ripus. Ripus are the enemies. The enemies within me, not the enemies outside. This Shadripuhu, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madamatsarya, we all know about this. So the sixfold attitudes, tendencies within me that are inimical to my own spiritual pursuit. So in order to overcome that, I need not only my own effort, but then I also need the grace of the Lord. So you are the one who by your grace, I pray for your grace so that I'm able to overcome these inimical tendencies within me. And I'm able to live a life of dharma, dharmaika nishthakari, the one who makes it possible for me to be firm in my living a life in keeping with what is right, in keeping with dharma. Says Chandrar Kanala Bhasamana Lahari, the one who's brilliant like the Chandra, Arka, Anala, the sun, moon, and the fire. So these are all sources of light, natural sources of light. So the one who's brilliant like the waves of light that emanate from the sun, from the moon, from the fire. Trailokya Rakshakari, he says, the one who protects all the lokas, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, all the world that is seen by me, the worlds of the heavenly worlds, and also in between the worlds. So all these threefold worlds, or the world, there is one, the world outside, the physical world, the seen and unseen world outside of me. But there is also a world within me, the world of my experience. That is called the phenomena. I experience the world in my own unique way. Each one of us does. We all, though, live in the same world, we experience the world differently. And so that is the three states of experience that I have in the waking world, in the dream world, in the deep sleep world. So these are all my worlds that I live in. in the world that I create. So the one who protects and keeps, whose laws govern and sustain and keep going the universe in all its manifest form, he says. The one who protects through the laws and protects the jivas also by sustaining, helping them sustain their life. Sarvaishwarya Kari, the one who fulfills Sarvai Aishwarya Kari. She gives Aishwaryam is the, so whatever you seek, you get fulfillment of desires, he says. And also, Aishwaryam is control, lordship. It's called Aishwaryam. So the one who is, she is the Lord of all. She is the goddess of all. So she is the one who brings about success in the people, but at the same time, she is the one who lords over everything, he says. She is the one who fulfills the desire, the tapas. The tapas is the spiritual austerities of the individuals in their spiritual pursuit. So whatever the disciplines, etc., I follow, you're the one who fulfills them. So please give me this bhiksha, give me this bhiksha of jnanam, give me this bhiksha of blessing, of sustenance, of food, of everything. Kailasachala Kandaralaya Gauri Huma Shankari Kaumari Nigamartha Gocharakari Hyomkara Bijakshari Mokshadvara Kavata Patanakari Kashi Puradhishwari Bhikshandehi Kripavalambanakari Mata Annapurneshwari. Kailas Achala Kandaralaya Kari. So the one who has an abode in Kailasa. So Mount Kailasa is the abode of Lord Shiva, Parvati, all the Shiva Parivaram. They live in Mount Kailasa. So Mount Kailasa is described in the Puranas. When Brahmaji describes Narada, one of his visits to Mount Kailasa, it's a place where Shiva lives. It's a place where all the devas and celestials visit. So in describing, he talks about the Kailasa as being made up of a lot of caves, the caves and ridges that are there in the Mount Kailasa mentioned in Shiva Puranam. Recently, you see, if you Google, so recently through all this satellite imagery and all, they've found out that Kailasa, when they zoom in the camera, it's made up of a lot of caves and ridges, which you cannot see through the naked eye, but with the scope now they've seen that. So anyway, it's interesting. It was described such a long time ago. So she's the one who has the abode there, and she is called Gauri. She is Gauri. It's another name for Parvati is Gauri. So, or Mahagauri. So she is one of the manifestations of Durga. The Navadurgas, the 8th manifestation is as Mahagauri. And during Navaratri also, during the 8th day, she is this particular form of Gauri. She is worshipped in that particular form. So all of these manifestations have stories in the Puranas that are associated with them. So not only that, he says Uma. So as Uma is another name for Parvati. So when she was born, the daughter to Himavan, and so that at that time she is called as Uma or Uma Devi. So Uma also is an interesting word. It's a very sacred word, the name. So Uma has the same letters, if you notice, Akara, Ukara, Makara, as Pranava, as Omkara. Omkara is made up of Akara, Ukara, Makara, A, U, and Ma sound. And the same Uma also has Ukara, Makara, and A sound. So it is a sound that represents both Sagunam and Nirgunam. We have seen that. So that she was called as Uma, when she was the daughter of Himavan. Not only that, Shankari, so the one who is a consort of Lord Shiva, she is also Kaumari. Kaumari is another name for Parvati in one of her manifestations as what are they called as Matrikas, So when Lord Shiva was fighting this Andhakasura, so Andhakasura has a capacity. So when every drop of blood that falls, another Asura manifests. So it becomes too much. And so there Devi manifests in the form of Saptamatrikas, and one of whose name is Kaumari, and so helps in destruction of this. Asuras are the negatives within us, and there are some negatives, some tendencies within us that are like, so you think you got rid of it, but it manifests like this Andhakasura fellow. So every drop, you destroy him, and then 10 more appear. You destroy those 10, 100 more appear. So like that, they cannot be destroyed, almost indestructible. There are tendencies like that, some of within us, unfortunately rare, or fortunately rare, but then unfortunately they are there. So these kinds of tendencies to overcome is beyond our capacity. In other words, it needs only prayerful attitude is the one that helps us overcome them. So here also, as Kaumari, she does that as a Shakti. As Annapurneshwari, I pray for that. Nigamartha Gocharakari. Nigamas are Vedas. So the one who makes it possible through her blessing for me to understand the meaning of the scriptures. It's called Nigamartha. Artham is the meaning. So the one who makes it possible to understand the meaning of the Shastram. Omkara Bijakshari. Again. So he says, Adi, I just mentioned that. So she is that which is the meaning of the word Omkara, the meaning of the word Pranava. In other words, like I said, Om indicates through its meaning the nature of both Sagunam and Nirgunam. And so she, who is Parameshwari, who is the goddess, Moksha Dwaraka Vata Patanakari, the one who opens the door to moksha through knowledge. That's why I am asking her for Bhiksha. Bhikshan Dehi Kashi Puradhishwari Kripavalambanakari Mata Annapurneshwari. Omkara is also called as a Bijaksharam. There are Bijas are letters and sounds that are associated with various deities. Omkara as a Bijaksharam is associated with both Sagunam and Nirgunam, Ishvara. Drishya Drishya Vibhuti Vahanakari Brahmanda Bhandodari Leela Nataka Sutra Khelanakari Vijnana Deepankuri Shri Vishveshamana Prasadanakari Kashi Puradhishwari Bhikshandehi Kripavalambanakari Mata Annapurneshwari. The one who drives, who carries, who's the support of all the glories, he says. Drishyam and Adrishyam. Vibhuti Vahanakari. She is the one who is the source of the glories that one sees, both seen and unseen, that are there in this universe. That includes other objects and also living beings, he says. So the one who is behind all of the Maya. Maya Shakti, illusion, is not just something to be dismissed, So sometimes we get into that trap. Oh, everything is easy to say. Everything is Maya, everything is Maya. As though it is something which is inferior, which is something to be dismissed, which doesn't mean anything. That's not true. Maya, everything is Bhagavan, in the vision of a wise man, says he doesn't see everything as useless. He or she sees everything as non-separate from the Lord. So it is Maya Shakti. In Devi, there is Devi Suktam. In that Devi Suktam, it talks about this. So without Maya Shakti, there is no manifestation. She is the material cause of everything. All pursuits take place within the Maya, and then they fulfill themselves in transcending the Maya. That is how the spiritual pursuit we look upon, So, therefore we seek the blessing. That's why she is in the form of goddess. She is Parashakti. Brahmanda Bhandodari, again, the one who is the support of the entire Brahmandam, the entire manifest creation, the entire manifest Jagat is who? It is this Shakti, Trigunatmika, Maya, in the language of Vedanta now. So there is in the language of the Vedas. She is Maya Shakti. It is of the nature of three gunas, Trigunatmika, because of which everything is manifest. She is the material cause, etc. This is the language of the Vedas, And the same thing is expressed in the Puranas in the form of, so all these, the gods and the goddesses, again, it means the same thing, refers to the same thing. Leela Nataka Sutra Khelana Kari. This all talks about the Jagat, the Maya Jagat. So she is the one, she is the Sutra Khelana Kari. Sutram is the strings. And the strings of this natakam, no, the puppet. This is a puppet show. This whole world is a puppet show. All the jivas are the puppets. The objects are the puppets. And then as in any puppet show, there is a person who wields the strings, and then makes everything move. Everything comes alive because of the puppeteer, Puppeteer not there, there's nothing. But then the whole thing comes alive because of that. And that is what she is. Maya Shakti, she is the one who's the power, who's the divinity behind this whole play of this Srishti, of Jagat, which includes all of us. We are all the puppets of the whole thing. Vijnana Deepankuri, she is the one she's the catalyst for this seed of knowledge, for it to sprout and to fulfill itself in the mind of a seeker, Shri Vishvesha Manav Prasadanakari. She is the one, she's a consort, as the consort of Lord Shiva. She said she facilitates the blessings also of Lord Shiva. Don't forget, they are inseparable. They are Ardhanarishvara. So they are both, so Shiva and Shakti are always together. So she is the one who also facilitates his grace for the bhakta, he says. Bhikshandehi kripavalambanakari mata Annapurneshwari. Urvi. Some readings may have this 6 and 7 words switch around, but this is what we'll do. 6. Urvi sarvajaneshwari jayakari mata kripa sagari nari nila samana kuntaladhari Nityannadaneshwari Sakshan Mokshakari Sada Shubhakari Kashi Puradhishwari Bhikshandehi Kripavalambanakari Mata Annapurneshwari. Urvi. Prithvi is called Urvi. The one that is wide, that is the great expanse, And the earth and heavens together also called Urvi. The whole Srishti is Urvi, And so here she, the one who she is all pervasive, in fact. So as goddess, she is the one that pervades the entire manifest creation. So thus she is called as Urvi. Or even Urvi is the name for Prithvi. So again, Prithvi is the one, is another Mata, the mother, who sustains all of us. through giving us food, who sustains us just by giving us a place to stand on, that otherwise we'll be floating all over the place. So she is the one who is a sustainer. Sarva Janeshwari, she is the one who's the Lord who presides over in the form through the laws and so on, over all the jivas, all the living beings. Jayakari, the one who makes all my endeavors successful. So in keeping with dharma, they become successful. So the one who gives me Vijayam, Mata Kripa Sagari, she is the one who is a mother, my mother, who is the ocean of Kripa, an ocean of compassion. Really, there is no comparison. So to a mother, when it comes to compassion, so a mother will put up with anything, with anything for her children. So there is something about that very, very, very identity of a mother that is full of compassion. So she says, you who are the ocean of compassion, who's a mother to all beings, At least mother may have some limitation when it preferences in terms of her children and so on. But Devi, so she is a mother for all. It says, Nari Neela Samana Kuntaladhari. This is a description of Devi, description. So description from the standpoint of her describing the hair, her hairdo. Like Shiva, Lord Shiva also has this. He's a Jatadhari, so he's called as he's called as the Jatadhari, the one who has Jata on his head. Vyomakeshaha, he is Vyomakeshaha, the one whose hair Kesh is like Vyoman, is like the sky, is like the space, infinite, a lot. So you see when he's dancing as Nataraja, so his hair is all over the place. It represents the activity and the dynamism. So Jatadhari is the one as an ascetic. So it symbolizes him as an ascetic. Here also, he says Neela, Neela. She is Nari. Nari is the one who has no enemy, Ari is a enemy. So the one who, she's a mother and she is not inimical towards anybody. But then in terms of her Kuntala, he says it is Neela, it is dark with bluish tint, and it is very evenly done. Okay. So Samanam, it is evenly done. So it's a description of a form. Nityana Daneshwari. Nitya Annadanam. So she's the one who's always ready with the pot, with the pot of payasam, which we'll describe in the next verse, that she holds and ready to give to whoever asks for bhiksha. Sakshan Mokshakari, the one who aids in me reaching spiritual success in the form of moksha. Sakshat here is immediate, aparoksha jnanam. So knowledge with reference to, so it's a personal thing. It's not just something I know about. I know about the Atma. I know about Ishvara. I have read it. This is what I think. This is what I believe. It's not like that. It's a knowledge that is recognized for oneself, by oneself, in the form of self-recognition, an immediate personal knowledge. That is what is this Sakshat Jnanam. Sada Shubhakari, always does what is auspicious. Bhagavan's blessing is never negative. There is nothing negative about it. We don't even visualize it that way. So whatever negativities come to us as a consequences of karma, so that is the nature of the law. So because of other factors, but not as Bhagavan doing something which is bad for anybody. So he says always Bhagavan is Shubhakara, always done what is Shubham, good, auspicious for a person's spiritual growth. because we are all in this pursuit. Everybody, every jiva is in a spiritual journey towards the same end. And that is true. And the Bhagavan facilitates this all the way, for a bhakta. So this is who you are, he says. Adikshant, number 7. Adikshanta samasta varnana kari Shambhu Priya Shankari Kashmira Tripureshwari Trinayani Vishveshwari Sharvari Swargadvaraka Vata Patanakari Kashi Puradhishwari Bhikshandehi Kripavalambanakari Matan Purneshwari. So the one who destroys all this samsara, samasta adik shanta samasta varnana kari. The one who destroys samsara of nama rupas, they're all interpretive meanings of the compounds. So the one who, kshayam is to destroy. So the one who destroys all the entire nama rupas, in the words, the entire jagat, born of avidya, born of ignorance, he says. The one again who's the beloved, Shambhu Priya, the one who's the beloved of Lord Shiva, Maheshwara, he says. Shankari, she is Shankari, she is one of the Matrikas. Remember I mentioned Kaumari was one of the Matrikas. Shankari is another Matrika. So these, when Matrikas are manifest, these are the manifestations of Devi, okay, to deal with the Asuras. You will see this in Devi Mahatmyam and everywhere. And so Matrikas are the various Shaktis, okay, the various different types of powers. And then these Shaktis are also derived from different Devatas. Okay, this is all Purana in the language of the way Puranas describe this or present it. So all these Shaktis, all the Devas have different types of Shaktis, that we invoke in order to deal with all the Asuras within us. And so the Shaktis that are connected to, Kumara, to Kartikeya is called as Kaumari. That's why Kaumari. So she had the Shaktis connected to Kumara. Here there are Shaktis connected to the Shakti of Lord Shiva. So here the Matrika is called as Shankari. This is how you get the names, he says. Kashmira Tripureshwari. He is the one who, Kashmira, she is from Kashmira Desha. Kashmira is mentioned in the Puranas, okay, as a region which is in the south of the Himalayas, in the north of the Bharat, and then it's really beautiful descriptions are there. It was created specially for human beings, Kashmira. So this is said in the Puranas. So because human beings can't experience Swarga, and so the gods created this Swarga on earth in order for the humans to at least go on a visit, on a vacation. That is how Kashmir is described in our scriptures. This heaven on earth and all is from the Puranas. It's not from anywhere else. So this is the Desha. It's a place of pilgrimage. It is a place where gods and all visit. And so there is a whole story of Kashmir that is described. So anyway, so she is the Ishwari. So connected to Mount Kailas is right there. So she is the goddess of this Kashmira Desha, the presiding deity also. Trinayani, the one who has 3 eyes. You all know the third eye that stands for Jnana Chakshu. So in the Devi's pictures, you will see that. And like Lord Shiva, Vishveshwari, she is the one who's the goddess of all. She is the one who gives auspiciousness. He says, the one who opens up all the doors, all the dwaras, he says, in order to heavens, all the doors to the different joys that are there, whether they are material or spiritual. Kashipuradhishwari Bhikshan Dehi. Daivi Sarva Vichitra Ratna Ruchira Dakshayani Sundari Vama Swadupayodhara Priyakari Saubhagya Maheshwari Bhaktabhishtakari Sada Shubhakari Kashipuradhishwari Bhikshan Dehi Kripavalambanakari Mata Annapurneshwari Devi Sarva Vichitra Ratna Ruchira, the one who has all this wealth, Ratna, wealth of all Sarva Vichitram, all different kinds of wealth, like Shri, like Mahalakshmi, she possesses and enjoys, in the sense, not that she seeks these things, because they all belong to her. No. Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi, like she doesn't have to go for all these beautiful things. All these they are her. In fact, they are there with her. We possess things. We don't possess so many things. All the things possess us, really speaking. But then for Bhagavan, it is not like that. For Bhagavan, she is the one who's the repository of all the wealth. She is Dakshayani. So the one who is a descendant of Daksha Prajapati. And before Parvati, she was Sati, the daughter of Daksha. In the Puranas described, she is the one full of grace and beauty. Vama means the left side. So the name Vama is given for Mahalakshmi, for Saraswati, for Durga. All of them have this name, Vama. Swadu Payodhara. Payaha is milk. Swadu Paya is paisam. So if you see Annapurneshwari has the form. So in one hand, she holds this bowl of payasam, of milk, the nourishing and sweet. And in the other hand, she has this ladle. So that is how she gives the bhiksha. She is the one who gives saubhagyam, means all goodness, all forms of goodness. Bhakta Bhishtakari, the one who always blesses those who are devoted to her, those who take refuge in her, and gives them all that is auspicious. Sada Shubhakari. There's nothing. People are afraid. We are afraid of Bhagavan. We fear the Lord, as though it's something going to do something bad to us, Really speaking, Bhagavan is the last thing that one needs to be afraid of, like a mother. She is a mother. So who is afraid of one's own mother? Really speaking. So she's a source of refuge, a source of comfort, a source of security, all of this. Chandrarkan, number 9. I have until 8:15, so don't worry, we'll finish this, okay? Chandrarkanala koti sadrishi, Chandramshu bimbadhari, Chandrarkagni samana kundaladhari, Chandrarka varneshwari, Mala pustaka pashankushadhari, Kashipuradhishwari, Bhikshandehi kripavalambanakari, Mata Annapurneshwari. So in this verse, interesting. So there are these three things keep repeating. Chandra, Arka and Anala. We saw this before. The sun, moon and the fire, he says. They are all sources of light. So the one who shines, he says, Koti Sadrishi, like thousands of rays that arise from sun and the moon and the fire. They are all three sources of life, but they're all different from each other also a little bit. So sun is full of brightness. It gives life-giving, energizing. Heat also gives heat. But the heat is a very strong heat. It's a very strong light. You don't see any shadows here and there where the sun is concerned, And so, but the heat can also burn. It not only lights up everything, it can also burn you. It removes darkness completely. It really stands for the intellect, the buddhi. And Chandra also is a source of light, but a different kind of a light. It's a life that is soothing, a life that is cooling, a life that is calm, gentle. And so Chandra is also presiding deity of the mind, the Manaha. Surya is the presiding deity of the intellect. Moon is the presiding deity of the mind. So both need to come together in order to gain the insight, to gain the knowledge. Knowledge is like intellect is like that, you know. So it just removes all the ignorance, wipes it out. But the mind, you need a tranquil mind, a calm mind. So for even the intellect to reach the proper conclusions, because it can lead you this way, that way also. So intellect is not wisdom, you know. Intellect is different. Intellect is intellect, but wisdom is intellect along with calmness and tranquility and gentleness. And fire again is another kind of a source of light, but different from the other two, which are naturally occurring there. One is its own source, one is a reflected light, and fire is a created light. You know, when both of them are not there, so on Amavasya day, then you can build a fire. It's a light of knowledge. Agni is compared to knowledge. You know, when knowledge, you have to work for it, you have to gain it, you have to practice all kinds of disciplines and so on. So it's a different kind of so that is cultivated and nurtured, and that is the light of the fire. So here he says the one who shines with all these different kinds of lights. Chandramshu Bimbadhari, the one who dharam, so the one who wields the crescent moon on her like Lord Shiva. So Parvati Devi also wields wherever you see this form of Bhuvaneshwari, Sri Parvati, all they will have this moon, crescent moon. There's another beautiful symbolism for this crescent moon. I'll do it another time. We don't have to mention here. But that also stands for Srishti, you know, and the goddess as the one who supports this whole creation. That's why both Shiva, Shakti, they all have this uh, the moon on their hair, you know. Chandrarka Agni Samana Kundaladhari. She wields this kundalams are the earrings also, which are bright and shiny like this, the rays of fire. So, and the one whose description again, so that is her form. So, indicating all these different things that I pointed out. And she also, again, these are what are called as Upasana Murtis. When I visualize, when you see the artist drawing the pictures of these goddesses and all, and so this is how they are descriptive. So Mala Pusa, she holds in her 4 hands, she has here in this particular form, Upasana Murti, holding a Rudraksha Malam, a book indicating knowledge, Veda, and Pashankusham, noose and the goad. You know, goad is the one that you use for the elephant to guide them. It's all how we control the mind. You know, we control the mind. Sometimes you have to rein in the mind, like you know these fellows they rein in they catch the cattle and all that, the cowboys. So you make a noose and you do it, or so sometimes you have to goad the mind, go this way, go that way, make it listen to you, like the person does with the elephant. And so then there is knowledge, pustakam is there, mala is spiritual discipline. So all these are symbolic of the different aspects of spiritual pursuit. He says, please give me this bhiksha of jnanam and annam and sustenance. Kshatratranakari mahabhayakari mata kripa sagari सर्वानंदकरी सदाशिवकरी विश्वेश्वरी श्रीधरी दक्षक 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 आक्रंदकरी निरामयकरी काशीपुराधीश्वरी भिक्षान्देहि कृपावलंबनकरी मातान्नपूर्णेश्वरी क्षत्रत्राणकरी. Ksharati ti Shatram, the one who destruction, the one who protects me from all forms of destruction, all forms of decay. Mahabhayakari, Abhayakari, one who gives me freedom from this huge Mahabhayam, which is in the form of Maranam, starvation or Maranam, either way you can take it, So she has Annam I ask for, she is from starvation, she protects me, And then Jnanam I ask for, so there is the Bhayam, the Mahabhayam of mortality is another kind of Bhayam. So whether it is a Bhayam of, so both starvation also leading to mortality. So here the one who protects me from all these kinds of fears, the one who's an ocean of compassion again, Mata Kripa Sagari, Sarvanandakari, the one who Sakshan Mokshakari, the one who gives me Ananda in the form of Moksha, the one who is always gives Shivam, the one who gives peace, the one who gives auspiciousness, the one who is the goddess of everything, of the entire Jagat, the one who wields all forms of Shri, all forms of wealth. So she is Sridhari, the one who made Daksha Prajapati. So repent or regret. You remember the story of Sati. So in the previous manifestation, so that whole story centered around Sati and Daksha and how Daksha repents and regrets his actions and so on. So it's connected to that. So Niramayakari, the one who frees me from all forms of amayas, are illnesses and afflictions. The one who is the goddess of Varanasi, Kashi, the one, please give me bhiksha. Annapurne Sada Purne Shankara Prana Vallabhe Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhikshandehi Cha Parvati. So Annapurne, this is all Sambuddhi, vocative, addressing. I'm addressing the goddess. Hey Annapurne, the one who gives Annam in the form of fullness, or so the Sadapurne, the one who gives fullness in the form of Jnanam, a fullness that doesn't go away, unlike the fullness of the food, he says. The one who is, so Shankara Prana Vallabhe, the one who is the very prana, the very life, inseparable from her consort, Lord Shiva. He says, Bhikshan Dehi, please give me this Bhiksha. For what purpose? Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham. Like, this is like a sankalpam, right? When you say Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham, in order to Duridakshaya Dwara, and so on. So for the sake of Jnanam, for the sake of Vairagyam indicates all the qualifications that are required for the spiritual pursuit. It includes all of that. So that please make me qualified for the knowledge. You don't just ask for knowledge. I have to make myself qualified too, for which again I need the blessing of Devi. So thus, please give me this qualification, and also at the same time, the knowledge, the source of knowledge. Earlier he said, by helping me understand the words of the Veda and so on. Please give me this Bhiksha. Mata cha Parvati Devi, Pita Devo Maheshwaraha, Bandava Shiva Bhaktascha, Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. So Mata, I ask for everything from her, and then who else do I have? He says, really. Mata cha par, for me, for a bhakta. So for a bhakta, he just sees Bhagavan at some point. So he says, for my mother and father are the source, the source from which I came. We look upon in terms of mother and father, he says. Mata cha Parvati. For me, mother is so Parvati. Devi is the mother. Pita, father is Parameshwara, is Maheshwara, Lord Shiva. And then who are my relatives? This is my family. After all, this is my family. Other family here and there, they come and go. They are transient. It's like transients, For a few years of your life, you're together. And then each one disperses in their own way. And they are here and there with some kind of a connection. But there is one family that is a constant family, really speaking. And so here, Bhagavan, my source from which I came, the mother and father are so Parvati Devi and Maheshwara. And then what are relatives? I need other people too. Well, they are the Shiva Bhaktas. They are the Bhaktas. So here we are not talking of Shaivism. We are talking Bhakta, Bhagavan's Bhaktas. The ones who are devoted to the Lord. They are the one, after all, the one who I can relate to, the one who I can connect to, the one who are companions in my journey. These are all again people who are Bhagavan's Bhaktas, he says. And where is my Desham? Where do I feel it? Which is Swadesham. Swadesham is what they call Swasthanam, a place, my own place. We all want our own place, everybody. Doesn't matter how small it is, but one needs a space, which is one's own space. And so that is Swadesham. And what is my Swadesham? A Swadesham is a place where I'm comfortable, where I feel at home, where I don't feel intruded upon. So where I can be myself, where I can relax. And so for me, for whom Bhagavan is my family, the Bhaktas are my family. Bhagavan they are my parents, gods and goddesses are my parents. Then what would be my home? Generally, home is our parents' home. It's always like that. So wherever we are, once you leave parents' home, when you think of home, you think of your parents' home. So when we were growing up also, you come away to another country, and then when you want to go back home, you always say, I go back home, I go back home. What do you mean by that home? You mean where the parents are. Once you realize the parents are no longer there, you really feel there is no home. So there is no home to go back to as such, At the most, bandhavas, relatives, to some extent, but nothing like parents' home. So, even when kids go away from parents' home, they leave there, make sure their rooms are intact there, even though they have their own homes. So that is what is called Swadesham. He says, for me, the whole Bhuvanam becomes Swadesham. So wherever, so where is Bhagavan? Bhagavan is everywhere. If Bhagavan is everywhere, then for me, wherever I find the presence of the Lord, that is where my home is. So beautiful. Mata cha Parvati Devi, Pita Devo Maheshwaraha, Bandhava Shiva Bhaktascha, Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. So with this, we conclude this beautiful prayer, very beautiful prayer. So it's something to be chanted. You can recite it during this Navaratri, the 9 days. Today is the first day for us. So the next 9 days, then there is Dashami is also there, Vijayadashami. So this is a time to recite prayers like this prayer or prayers like this. Beautiful. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you, Dheeraj.
Thank you, Dheeraj.
Thank you, Dheeraj. It was very nice.
Thank you, Dheeraj.